I'm currently 337th in the world, and in this video I'm going to be sharing some cheeky tips so you guys can win more matches in Squad Busters. So we're going to be saving the best and most secret tip until last, so stay tuned to the end to catch what that is. So coming in with tip number 1 is always try to carry a spell. If you don't have one, pick it up if you see one. You have got a spell slot there. Utilize it and carry a spell. You might as well have the extra DPS, whether it be a bomb, a cannon, or something. It can be great for getting away from squads trying to push you, and it'd be great for doing a little bit of extra DPS when you're pushing a squad or enemy monsters. So you have got a spell slot there. Make sure you utilize it, my friends. Tip number 2 is if you do have a spell and the enemy squad is chasing you to try and boost you, make sure if they're chasing you, you throw your spell in the air and not behind you towards them. Because if you throw it behind you towards them, by the time the spell lands, they're going to run past it and you're not going to get any effect off it. So if you throw it up in the air, if they're chasing you, they're actually going to run into the spell. So you're best off doing this with like the bomb spell, the zap spell, or the freeze spell. So if you throw it up in the air, the squad's chasing you, they're going to run into it. You're going to stall them, knock them back, stun them. So it's going to give you extra time to get away from a squad trying to boost you, my friends. Simple tip coming in at number 3, and if you break open one of the blue boxes that you see on the maps, you'll always get a pair of blue turbo boots from it, and along with some extra little goodies. But the turbo boots are key, so if you do see a blue box, make sure you break it open and get them turbo boots and add them to your collection. So coming in with tip number 4, speaking of turbo boots, and it is be tactful with your turbo boots. Don't press them too long and burn them when farming and fighting monsters. Try to save them in case you need to get away from a fight or a squad chasing you down. You know, there's no need to go through them when you're farming. Just let them stack up, save them there in case of an emergency. So tip number 5 is speed is key, like I always say inside the Squad Busters. So like I say, stack your turbo boots in case of an emergency. Or if you have Max or the Hog Rider unlock, make sure you pick a speedster to have in your squad when you can. Even the chicken, so you get the extra turbo boots. Like the speedster in your squad is key if you do have them unlocked. Remember that, my friends. Tip number 6 is if you do have Hog Rider in your squad and you do pick him, make sure you're utilising the grass to get that extra speed boost. So when an enemy squad's chasing you down and you're running away, make sure you're going through the grass to get the extra speed boost so you can get away from enemy squads much quicker. Tip number 7, in the Roll Horned game modifier, if you have got a lot of ghosts on your team, you can actually just sort of sit behind them and let them fight enemy squads and let them act as tanks. So you can just sit behind them, chip away doing damage at enemy troops as well. So it's just 3 tanks inside the game. Make sure you utilise them correctly. Tip number 8 is if an enemy squad is grieving you and you have enough gold to open a chest quickly, try to run to the chest before they boost you and get another unit for an extra chance of survivability. And I do this often myself when I get into fights. I'll run to a chest. If I am losing the fight, I'll just run to the chest, quickly let it open and pick another squad member and carry on, try to run away. Just gives you that extra chance of survivability by having that extra squad member in your team. So tip number 9 is a bit of a mechanic here a lot of people don't know, and your squad will actually attack whatever's closest to the center of your squad. So if you want to attack a particular enemy squad member or a particular monster, and there's a few around you, you move your squad over to the center of it, all your squad members will target that first, so just bear that in mind. Tip 10, and each squad starts in a specific zone, and if you go onto the bridge and off it again, it will break, which is not a bad idea since you can stop squads pushing you too early. So if you go on that bridge, off again, provided there's no any monsters on it, it will break and it'll just give you a bit of time to help farm monsters and get your squad built up in that early game. So next up, if you have a bomb in your spell collection, if you throw it at some trees or some carrot patches, the bomb will actually break the trees and carrot patches and give you the loot. So it's not a bad idea to use that early game. If you haven't got Mavis or Greg in your squad, just use a bomb, destroy them and get that free loot. So the next tip is the more characters you have inside of your squad, the more expensive chest prices will be. So it's not a bad idea fusing your units to keep that chest price down. So if you have like 2 Mavises or 2 Colts in your team, the chest prices will increase. But once you get another Mavis or Colt out of that chest, the chest price will decrease and be cheaper. So do bear that in mind. Do fuse your units for cheaper chest prices. So the next tip is in the loot surge modifier. Make sure you are running to gather the loot that appears and not farming monsters, especially if it is the turbo boots. Just run and gather them up and stack them up. Like the turbo boots come in so clutch, so if they appear on the map, run round, gather them up, add them to your collection. So you've got a stack there for when an enemy squad tries to attack you. You can get away really easily and don't have to worry about being busted by that enemy squad. And the next tip is similar to the last one, and it is the golden boots modifier. Again, when you see these golden boots on the floor, make sure you go and collect them, because you don't have to press the turbo boots button when you have got the golden boots. It just turbos you automatically, and you do get that extra speed buff. So when it is the golden boots game modifier, make sure you're going around collecting these golden boots up and adding them to your collection, and it will give you an advantage. So the next tip is whenever you do boost a squad, they will drop a key so you can open a chest for free. So if you're confident on winning a fight and you see another enemy squad running about and you think I can take them, don't be afraid to do so, because you can go and attack them, boost them, get their loot, get a free key that you can use on a chest to help build your squad quicker. So just a cheeky tip coming in for Bo, and Bo does additional damage to moles in Whack-A-Mole, ghosts in the Royal Haunt, and goblins in a Goblin Rush. So not a bad choice to pick Bo early game to farm that extra loot. Next up we have, if you have the cannon spell in your inventory early game, don't be afraid to use it and throw it down. The cannon spell isn't that good against enemy squads. It is quite effective in farming monsters early game. So you can throw your cannon spell down, let it damage monsters while you're attacking another monster. Go and get the gold, and that's just a quick and easy way to help build your squad up quicker from chest. So the next tip is a bit of a tactical tip, and it is if there's a rage spell on the floor and you've got a rage spell in your inventory, make sure you're using the one that you've got and then pick up the one on the floor. And that just stops other squad members from picking it up, because the rage spell is quite an OP spell. And if there's already one on the floor and you've got one in your inventory, you might as well use it and pick that one up for free. And then you get an extra buff for a couple of seconds and you haven't really utilised your spell. Next up, we've got the Double Trouble modifier, and it's not a bad idea to keep picking goblins at the start so you can build up a good collection of gold to open many chests. But be careful of other players pushing you too early with stronger squad members. So the next one is a bit of a secret tip a lot of new players don't realise, and it is you can cancel your spells if it's one you throw, and simply hold the spell button down and slide your finger in any direction while it's still pressed against your screen, and you'll see the spell action disappear off the screen. So do bear that in mind, because you do sometimes go to press them spells by accident, but you can cancel it using this method. And lastly, the secret tip a lot of new players do miss. It is in the tutorial, but a lot of players do miss this and don't realise it is the turbo boots button that give you extra speed when you're running actually make your squad attack faster. So if you come into contact with a monster or another enemy squad, if you actually hold that turbo boots button down, you'll notice your squad members attacking much faster. So that's the top tip to win more fights, to eliminate monsters quicker. Like I say, a lot of people forget this tip, but it is one of the most OP tips inside of the game.